So today I thought I would play in my Dina Wakley multi-surface journal, and I'm going to create a page on one of the plain white sort of cotton pages. Before I do anything, I want to stick down my main focal image for the page. I'm going to stick this down first before I add any colour whatsoever, because I'm going to build up the background around the main focal point. And I'm feeling in that kind of mood today, so I'm going to be using this image. This is from a very old cabinet card image that I've had in my image collection for quite some time. And I've printed it out and I've just torn the edges and feathered the edges so that it kind of blends a little bit before I even begin. So I'm going to just start by gluing it down onto the page using some matte medium. This is throwing it all over the floor. This is the matte medium from Indigo Blue. So I'll give it a good splodge. I have my brush. Just give that a good going around the page. Make sure there's plenty of it on, and then I can just quickly paint the back of the image. That just minimises the chance of wrinklage. And I'm just going to drop it down on there. Now I have printed this image using my Epson inkjet printer. It's the WF2630, and I know I get a lot of questions about it because, as you can see, the ink hasn't moved. Once your images are printed, it uses something called Durabright ink, which has a resin included in the ink, which means that when it dries, it doesn't go anywhere. Even if you add a wet medium over the top, it's a permanent inkjet ink. And I think that's marvellous. Love it. So just go all the way over, because inkjets are inexpensive and cost a lot less to run and operate than a laser. But anyway, right. So I'll just give that a blast, get it all dry. Look at that, no wrinkles, no bubbles. I am blessed today. Okay, so my image is now completely dry, and as you can see, the matte medium hasn't created any kind of shine because, clues in the title, it's matte. So now I'm going to start building up my background image, my colour in the background, but to do that I'm going to use some Titan Buff. So continuing that kind of earthy tone that's already in the background, I'm going to just load up some paint. Let's see if I've got my paint mat to hand. That'll do. So I'm going to load that up, and then I'm going to start building up using the sponge. I'll go all the way around, just kind of lightly tap in when I get there, and then starting to blend it in. Go light, then go heavy. I get to the edges. Just light taps, and then start getting a bit heavier when you get further away. Of course, you could do this just with your finger if you wanted to. I haven't added any gesso onto the page today. I don't really think it needs it because I've used that matte medium in the background. Just go really light, and then I can start to get a bit heavier. This is just the first layer, so I'm not too worried that you can still see the edge on that. Not to worry, let's grab some more of that paint. I'm going to use a fair bit, I think, on this once I've gone all the way around. Just keep going all the way, build it up. So this is probably going to take me some time to do. So what I'll probably do is I'll stick on some music, get that play, and then go into fast forward until I've got this how I want it in the background. So that first coat of the buff is now dry, and I've kind of blended out the edges. You can still see it a little bit, but I'm going to be able to disguise that a little bit by adding in some stenciling. Now I'm going to do some downward arrow stenciling on this one. So I'm just going to grab a cosmetic sponge, like so, and I've got some orange. So this is Dinner Wakely Tangerine. So I'm going to just daub some of that onto my craft mat, and then just load up that sponge. And then I can start adding in some of those arrows coming down. Take it off, just add a nice kind of array of those arrows coming down there, and then I can do some, this is trying to remember which side of the stencil he used. Turn it over here and then start bringing in some of those from the side. Like that, and then add a few going in the other direction. Just a hint. Across the top. Just to kind of get a little bit of movement going around the page, and I can turn that around and then add another little bit at this side. And that helps to disguise and blend out those edges of the paper of the focal image. A little bit more paint. Like so. Okay, happy about that. Give it a blast. Now that my orange arrows are dry, I can bring in another stencil. So this is my Roundels stencil. As you can see, well loved and well used. And I'm going to place that down the side. And I'm going to join up the top and the bottom arrows with some red. Well, that's doing in there. And this is Dina Wakley Ruby. It's only fitting because I'm working in my Dina Wakley journal. So again, sponge, and then I can start to build up some of that bold colour. Like it. And then down here at the bottom, turn that round, and I can add some of that in over here. And then I can do the same thing, just as a little spike coming in from the top, kind of bringing it down so it's pointing kind of at his head there. These cosmetic sponges are great for adding in detail because you can get a lot of definition from not a lot of paint. Like so. Okay, so let's get that dried once more. So now all those circles are dry, I've got a stamp block and I've got a distress marker. This is mustard seed, and I'm going to add some of that mustard seed colour onto the block, like that, just like that. And then I have a cotton bud, and I'm going to pick up some of the colour, and I'm going to just gently start adding in some colour on the costume. So a little bit like tinting an old photograph. Well, I am tinting an old photograph really, I suppose. I don't think they probably did it this way themselves, but this would be a good way to do it with a little bit of control. Ian's creeping around. You don't have to be that quiet, you know.
A very noisy floor, so that looks good.
I like the fact they look like they're wearing frilly knickers. But they're not, because obviously this is a Victorian carnival costume.
Maybe shorts, type of shorts.
Yeah. This is what acrobats and show people kind of costumes were like back in the day.
Why does the one at the top look like Justin Timberlake?
Does he?
Yeah.
I'll take your word for that. Justin Timberlake. Bringing stripes back. Okay. So we've added a little bit of colour just into those stripes, just to kind of bring that all together then. I'm happy with that as it is. So now what I want to do is to bring some of that darkness from the costumes out into the outside. And that's quite typical now. Mr. Bentley's wanting to get in on the act as well. You can be quiet. Nobody's interested in you. And we know that's not true. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit for a minute or two. Go see Mr. Bentley, see what he wants. And then I've run downstairs now. Oh, no. One of those days. I need to let this rest. I need to let it dry for a few minutes and then I'll be right back. That's now had a chance to rest, so I'm going to bring out some black paint. A little bit of black paint again, Dina Wakley black. And I have an old banker's card, an old debit card that's no longer in use. I'm just going to grab the edge so I can do a little bit of mark making. And then I can start to bring in a little bit of that darkness from the in to the outer. And then maybe just kind of frame it a little bit. Almost like we're creating a kind of border around the page, but we're not really creating a border around the page. We're just creating some nondescript kind of marks that just help to bring it all together. Without going over the top. So I'll use the shorter side of the card there, because we haven't got a lot of room. There we go. Nice bit of mark making. Can't go wrong. Maybe just a few light marks on there. Cool, like that. And I've managed to get black paint all over my fingers. Okay, so once again, to get that dried off, I'll get this cleaned up and I'll be right back. Okay, so that black kind of frame that we've added to the page, which brings that dark colour from the inside to the outside, and then we have that colour that we've got, the oranges and the reds and now the yellows in the centre, kind of adds it a nice sense of balance, which is kind of what these two guys are doing anyway. So I thought I would just add to it. So I've gone to a dictionary, an old dictionary, I don't know what's going to focus on there, and I've cut out the word balance. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create, just using a little bit of art journal convention, and I'm just going to create a couple of little hats using the definition of the word balance from the dictionary, just because we can. Or shall we swap those round? That'll do, I think, quite nicely. So I'm going to glue those down with a collage glue stick. This is one of the small Diane Reevely diary glue sticks, but you can use any kind of glue stick that you want. The world is your oyster, as they say. Stick that just down like that. There's some art journal conventions which I think are quite cute, and this is one of them, adding little book text hats onto your characters. I think is kind of cute. One of the things that I like about art journaling. So put that to one side. And then I want to just draw around those. So I have a Pigma Micron number 5 in number 5, and I'm just going to bring that, just add a little border all the way around. I hope my head's not getting in shot. My big head. Just like that. And then, still keeping with the pen, I'm going to add a little bit of journaling, and I'm just going to write because he's pointing there. And I think I'm just going to finish it off by signing it and dating it, whatever today is it. What is it today? 26th. And I'm going to call this one done. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, without whose generosity and support these videos would not be possible. Thank you.